Slay
Oh,
indeed.
have you seen the new Slay Lemon?
It's a new it's a
Slay
new
Lemon?
it's a new Mika emote, which is
Yeah.
very good.
There's another Mika mode. Hold on, I gotta look at this.
Yeah, he gets two.
I'll
What? I
post it in
love it.
the
Yeah, post it in the
yeah.
chat because I am lame and I haven't logged into Twitch.
All right, we are live. So I think
Hello.
it's good time to dive in. I will zoop over to the start of this. So hi. Hey. Hello. Welcome to Roll Talks, the TTRPG talk show where we talk about our favorite indie systems. There's three of us tonight because our silly little baby friend Erica forgot that she had a charity stream, and how dare she?
Yeah. What a dumb
Oh
baby.
my gosh.
Zoe drew that in
who
like 2 minutes, which is
who
incredible.
who drew that?
Yeah.
What a fool. What a foolish individual. What a goofy goober.
First of all, don't insult yourself.
I learned that goober, the word goober comes from the Andy Griffith show.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of the guy's names. They name him Goober.
I love it. All right, so
Okay.
as we get started, I'd love to hit you all with a warm up question. I'd love for you to think about your favorite insult, just like your favorite, just on the topic of goober. I'm like, that's a good one. I
Oh God.
I think we need to call more people
Yes.
knobs. I think knob is a very underrated insult. Um, I also want to get into the habit of like calling people like unevolved rather than stupid because I feel like that just like cuts a little bit harder. So that's
Oh,
a
that makes me
promise to
think
the
of Fooly
show.
Cooly when Haruko gets mad. She's like, "You filthy primitive ape."
That's exactly what I was thinking of, Mika.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, I got no clue, but that sounds really funny.
Zoe, watch Fooly Cooly, please.
Never.
Okay.
Experimental anime.
My favorite insult is send me your cranial measurements, you old Yakubian ape. I must study you for science.
What?
That's a Tumblr thing, right?
It's it's on Twitter, I think.
Hmm.
It, it's mostly the like I'll say it to my fiance and I'll be like, "Send me your cranial measurements. I must study you for science." And it's really brutal and it makes me really happy.
God, that's so intense.
You Yakubian ape.
Mika, do you have any favorite mean words that you like to whip out on a rainy day?
Yeah, fuck him right in the ear.
Oh, the ear.
That's pretty good.
Ooh,
Yeah, I got
the
it
ear
from the
is so
South Park
shallow.
movie. It's one of the last lines in the South Park movie. No one remembers that. I don't. Did I freeze?
You did, but that's okay. We can still
Yeah.
hear you,
Yeah,
and you're
like
back now.
I
Okay.
need to figure that out. Um, no one remembers that from the South Park movie, and it's such a memorable line to me in a movie full of memorable lines, and
Mm.
I love saying that. Well, fuck him right in the ear.
Ah, fuck 'em
My
right
other
in the
one
ear.
is numbnuts. Just calling
Mm,
someone numbnuts. Yeah,
numb nuts.
yeah.
I
Hey,
mean,
numbnuts.
as an individual without nuts, I constantly experience that. So
You have no feeling in your nuts. That's pretty
I have
crazy.
no feeling in my nuts. What a rip off. Can't
Friggin'
believe it.
wild. Um, all right, so we are hanging out here to talk about some favorite indie systems we played. A few on Roll D5 that I'm like hyper curious about. Low stakes for sure. Zoe wanted to share a system that she wanted to talk about. Also, Candela Obscura, which is like shaping
Mhm.
up to be one of the next great TTRPGs, if only for the fact that Critical Role has started playing it and or developed it. I need to check up on that. But heavily inspired by Blades in the Dark, it is a system that they are doing alongside Dungeons and Dragons, which is wild. And our dear sweet head of the channel, Mika, has played it.
Hi, that's me. I have. Hey, hi, I'm Mika. I do things. So Candela Obscura, we were very lucky that we had Johnny XP from Talking XP to lead this game for us. And geez, he's a great GM. So in Candela Obscura, it's the background's kind of the whole popular you're part of a secret organization combating supernatural entities theme with I don't want to say dark twists, 'cause all of them have dark twists, but the system is very unique. It's one of those systems like Call of Cthulhu where it can be easy to die.
Mm.
Do I keep free? You can hear me, right? Despite the fact I keep freezing
Yeah,
up.
yeah, you're totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm glad this did not happen to me during yesterday's stream.
It's a great
So you
expression,
have,
by the way.
it really is. That needs to be
Yeah.
saved for yeah, I need it memed. I need fan art, please.
Fan art of Frozen
So
Mika.
Ooh, ooh woo,
yeah.
please do fan art of my frozen face. Ooh woo.
Ooh
Ooh
woo.
woo, please.
Is
Jesus.
it there we go. So the rolling so it's a D6 system. I love D6 systems because they're so approachable. Everyone has a D6 from some old board game from when they were a kid.
It's true.
And everything, I also like it when systems do this. Everything is split into all your roles split into 3 categories: nerve, cunning, and intuition. And then within those are the 3 different types of roles. And you have, oh man, how do I explain? So, for example, nerve, you have move, strike, and control. And in those, you have your little circles, and however many are filled in, that's how many dice you roll. So if you have 2 circles filled in for move, when you roll for move, you roll 2 dice. If you have 0 circles filled in, you roll 2d6 and take the lower number. You roll disadvantage.
Okay.
Up top, you have this drive system. You get a certain amount of drive per section. You can sacrifice a drive to add another dice to your roll. If the I'm not going to get too into it. It's going to be confusing without showing you what it is. Really look up Johnny XP on YouTube. He has this great tutorial on everything, explaining everything, and it's so good. I watched it a few times to really help me get prepared for the game. It's
Nice.
a unique system. Yeah.
That sounds super similar to Chronicles of Darkness, actually, with the dots. Like
Oh,
matching with the dice and everything. That's so
actually,
interesting.
yes. It's
Yeah, that's
very
cool.
similar to that.
Mm.
Do you want to talk about Chronicles of Darkness for us?
No, absolutely not. That's the one thing I won't
No,
talk
that's
about.
okay. I'll keep talking about Candela
I'm actually
Obscura
really
then.
offended that you even brought it up. Since
No,
you,
that's fine.
I,
So in Candela
no,
Obscura,
no,
you know,
you've
you've
tied my
got
hands behind my back. All right.
different classes.
Please, God, let me talk about Chronicles of Darkness. So, it used to be called World of Darkness, and that caused a lot of confusion. Because when people look it up, this was years ago though, so no one probably even cares about that anymore, but it's called Chronicles of Darkness now. Because when they rebooted it, they made a bunch of different playbooks that kind of clashed with their previous playbooks, and they've built out so many really in-depth worlds, like be it vampires. They have one where you're just like magic users, you're just like mages, and you run around, and people can compare the vampire world to what's it called? What We Do in the Shadows. Like what you
Ooh.
expect is cool Dracula world where Draculas are everywhere, and you could die, but really it's just what we do in the shadows. So you just goof around, try not to die, and you can be whoever you want to be, and it's a lot of fun.
There's a
But
horror element to it too, right? Just based off
there
what Mika
is.
was talking about. It's not just goofy, silly vampires.
You can do goofy, silly vampires, but the intention versus how I personally like to use it is totally different. Chronicles of Darkness is really the bouncing off point for what I like to DM, which is just like really easy to play like super deep horror, because essentially it's a very easy system to build a human being that's very fragile but very deep and very like complicated, and then like put them into this world where there's all this crazy shit going on and have them interact with that. So like you can quickly make a human, and then oh no, there's cultists in your town. What are you gonna do about that? You're just Dave from the grocery store, and all you have is like your fucking sticker machine. You know what I mean? Like, how are you gonna figure this out? And you got to, because like Dave's the main character. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of fun. It's a really good TTRPG. So definitely look into it. I want to make a simplified character sheet, just
Ooh.
based on Chronicles of Darkness, where it's just very simplified for one shots or long term things. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a good time.
My God, Zoe Premier Chronicles of Darkness GM. In addition to the artist for the logo that you can all see in the center here, and our fun little starting soon and we'll be right back screens with the moving animated fire.
That's right.
And
All of
most
this
of our
and more.
emotes.
That's true. There was a point where I was so hyper focused on getting stuff done, and you guys came in at right the peak of that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, now you're busy with, marriage or whatever, It's
Yeah,
eh.
dumb shit like work, marriage, relationships,
Planning
the
for weddings. What?
weddings. What even is that?
Do
Now
you
I
ha-
have to
Who
plan you
does he
months
think
in
he is?
advance.
What was that?
Now I have to plan you months in advance.
It's true.
how busy?
I am a hot commodity.
Zoe, do you have any advice for people who are looking to create like a fun roster of emotes for their channel? Is there anything that like you feel should not be missed?
Yeah, totally. I mean, our lineup, I I have 80, the full ADHDs. You know what I mean? Like all 80 of them. And I like to do copious research before I do anything, before I jump into any project. And I looked up all the most popular ones that all the different channels use, and just based on how we are and how we interact with the audience. And you got to have a raid if you're going to be raiding, because then what are people going to spam when you're raiding? uh then you also have to have like the basics like love, uh shock, awe. I would say nothing too negative is
Mm.
my best tip, because then if you have an emote that you're like sad to see, like what, why have it?
We do get a lot of use out of the shocked Zoe emote.
Yeah.
That one is really good.
I appreciate that.
Erica
Yes, that one.
especially uses it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shocking things that happen on your TTRPGs, like all the one-offs. There's drama. There's always tea.
There's drama. There's intrigue. There's
Yes,
betrayal.
betrayal, intrigue.
Long lost evil twin.
Oh God, my hands are so pale. Look at that. Ghost.
It's
Yeah,
spooky.
where are your sparkles?
I wish. Well, I put on Christmas lights, the filter. That's the
Oh my
closest to
gosh.
vampire sparkles I can get.
It is
Oh
November,
my
so that
gosh.
means it's Christmas the 1st.
Legally in America, it's
Ew.
Christmas now.
Ew.
It's Merry Crisis.
Ew. I feel like I didn't do Candela justice.
Talk more,
Um,
please. Why should
okay,
people
so going
pick up
back
the
to
system?
Candela.
Talk more,
So
nerd. Bet you want to talk about
Yeah.
Candela.
yeah.
Give us your
Well,
information,
well,
nerd.
well, nerd.
Whoa.
What do you have to say about Candela Obscura? Well,
Yeah,
first I have
yeah.
to say I'm
Tell
not
us.
Johnny. Again, you should really talk to Johnny. He's very passionate about Candela. I think one thing that's very interesting, that will lead into Triangle Agency. One thing interesting about Candela is, unlike other games that involve the supernatural, for the most part, you don't have supernatural abilities yourself. You are just a squishy person. I think like the most supernatural any of these are is with the weird, and how like if they put some of their blood on a knife and take a body mark, they can hurt supernatural things, and they can be kind of psychic and attuned to things. For the most part, like no one can turn their arm into a sword. um no one
Oh,
has
I'm out.
interdimensional hammers. No one is an angelic being cast down to earth. No one's a vampire with a soul. You're just a person in like steampunk turn of the century Europe.
So
Turn
there's
century
a big
Europe.
like occult theming to all of it. If you need to use your own blood to
Yes.
kill supernatural things, yeah.
Yes. And because there's only the quick play guide right now, it doesn't go too much into this, but there are in fact other organizations you can play with to add to the game. It's not just Candela. There's opposing organizations, some that are more cult-like, some that do these supernatural experiments on people. Like Danielle's character had been experimented on by one of these other organizations. And it's nice to
Ooh.
see these fleshed out, because I feel like in a lot of instances you don't see these opposing factors, organizations fleshed out too well.
That's cool.
Now, not to spoil what's going on with our 3-part Candela streams, but there was at some point a betrayal, was there not? How does
There
how does
was.
that work mechanically? Because that's usually PvP is not encouraged in TTRPGs, but from what I remember, this led to some pretty tense moments.
PvP?
That's right.
What the hell?
I hardly
Not
know
my
her.
TTRPGs.
Didn't work. This isn't a PvP made for this game wasn't made for PvP like most games, TTRPGs are, but we were given special permission by the GM. Everyone, because this is part of our I was going to say facts and figures, that's not correct, part of our safety tools. Unless everyone agrees to it, we do not do PvP, because that can really ruin an experience. And that also goes along to using, like in D&D terms, like using charm on somebody else against their will. We're very much have your characters hash it out, role play it. We're not going to use these abilities against each other. And so like after the reveal happened, Erica right away asked in chat, like, hey, is everyone okay with PvP? Johnny, are you okay with this? And we are like, yeah, that was a great reveal. Let's hash it out. And so there were a bunch of NPCs that were on Erica's side. And so it was just a bunch of the typical your turn, gonna roll for this, your turn, roll for that.
Cool.
But the fact that it was a betrayal made it a much more interesting PvP event. And the fact that there were some cultists there as well. Some of our characters were already very damaged. I think one of Danielle's characters had already died by that point.
One of, as in Danielle played more than one character.
Spoilers, Mika.
Yes.
Spoilers.
So,
What if I
spoilers
haven't
hashtag.
seen it?
But we know you have, because you're a loyal member of our council.
Absolutely. You can't be a part of the council without seeing 100% of the videos.
Yeah, and famously, you know the first line said in the Candela Obscura stream, right?
Yeah, it's the
shake your ass, and yeah, you know the rest.
Well,
Welcome to
let me
Roll
say
D5.
it.
It's always the first line.
Oh, I froze. I said it though, so don't worry about it. Okay.
I believe you 100%.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
in this 3-parter, in part 2, we played a different set of characters that that session led up to like the big reveal of who the villain was that was being set up in part 1, and just it tied everything together. And so those characters kind of showed up in the second part, or in the third part, and as our characters from the first part were kind of picked off, we got to replay the characters from part 2.
That's so sick.
That
So
is cool.
once Danielle's part 1 and 3 character was thrown off a cliff, he got to use his part 2 character.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like as long as your characters have a backup character to play, you never want a character like a real human being just sitting at your table, just like, well, I guess I died.
We were incredibly lucky. It's surprising we all survived, because our part 2 characters, it was almost a total TPK.
Oh my gosh.
Turns out 3 of the characters did survive. but the one character dying like led into the betrayal in the next part. And surprised we didn't have like our characters got knocked out in part, like our main characters got knocked out, and so we got to use the part two characters. But no one other than Danielle's character actually died in part three, which was very surprising. It's the way Johnny runs
Yeah.
his game, like lots of suspense. Um, oh my gosh, and this is very. He pointed this out. Like this wasn't him thing. This was like very naturally our games. We started off like roleplay heavy in the first half, like setting everything up, and then shit always hits the fan in the second part for all three sessions.
That's so hype.
Well, that's how it goes, though. You know, shit's got to hit the fan eventually. Things got to get real interesting real fast at some point.
That's right. Even your cottagecore TTRPGs, they got stakes.
Yeah, they got steaks.
Who's gonna bake that pie in time?
Oh my gosh.
Steak pie.
Steak pie. This reminds me of this is, by the way, a fun GM fix in case you're playing like a very casual home game and folks can't make it all the time. This is a few years back, just with some close friends, just playing a D&D 5e game, and they went to a magician city. Their like 12-year-old magic user started going to school there, and then people were just busier. So we occasionally had people miss. So we created a second party that only existed in the magical school. Everyone played like other teenagers in like going
Aww.
through classes, and at the climax of the arc, they alternated between the two parties that they created to like go through a dungeon together and like hit switches for each other.
Dude, I absolutely love a school TTRPG. There's something about it where I'm getting echo because I haven't muted my Twitch.
You're
So
so
professional.
You're so fine. It is not noticeable on our end.
but no, I love that stuff. Like origin stories and people coming into their own. Like that's my favorite kind of roleplay stuff. That's so cool.
Hell yes. There is another system that I want to talk about today, and it's one that Mika and I just yesterday had a very exciting session with. Mika, we played Quest RPG over on Couch Soup, did we not?
In fact, we did, according to my calendar, not my memory.
You should check that out. It's a awesome.
I black out whenever I role play. It's like my character
It was
just takes
traumatic.
over.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Totally
It
understand.
was a very intense, slightly traumatic episode.
It was. But I think I've mentioned Quest RPG on Roll Detox before, as we're just kind of like talking about systems. But you know, D&D can be like a hard first system for a lot of people because of the level of complicatedness that it has. But at its core, most of it is roll a d20 and see if you succeed. And that can be
Oh,
like,
totally.
yeah, for sure, for sure. But Quest actually boils it down to just that. It's like you're rolling a d20. There's generally no modifiers to worry about, and it's like you succeed, or you succeed with a cost, or you fail. But
What? There's a name for that? That's cool.
yeah, it's so simple. It's awesome. But there at the same time, it's super replayable because there's like a skill tree system. So like rather than picking like a class and you like level up, if you are a fighter, for example, you can start working your way down all of the fighter skill trees. You can start working your way down like the punch and kicky fighter, but then take the first skill from the strategist fighter and like just kind of like create your own build. And it's super genre flexible too. And what I find really fun about it too is that Mika is playing a character who's largely non-combat. All of your skills are things like, oh, I commune with the wind and find the right direction when we're lost, or oh, I take an absolutely dizzying edible and then see through all deceptions around me.
Truthfully, I episode 3 I brought this up, but when Isco, your character, attacked the giant rock ape monster, I was surprised that there were actual attacks in the game, because there was zero. There's like one kind of attack in the survivalist, I think it is, skill tree for the ranger, and it's I get to sharpen my senses so I can shoot my arrow further. That's what it is.
Oh, cool. So
And
it's
so
like
it's just
it's
implied
like
I can
Skyrim kind of,
shoot.
where there are skill trees and everything. That sounds
Yeah,
really simple to follow. That sounds cool.
It's great.
it is.
Yeah, and the skills are usually pretty simple, but also like pretty impactful. Like my character is mostly like a martial artist parkour brat. So I went down the like body class of fighter. So it's like your unarmed strikes
Parkour.
deal 2 damage instead of 1. Everything deals 1 damage for the most part, or 2 damage if you like attack with a weapon. It's like very straightforward. You have 10 HP, you have 10 skill points that you can use on your skills. And then your abilities are like taunt or like defy death, and you like use skill points to like not get knocked down. It's super customizable, but the rolling aspect of it is very straightforward. And if you're trying to get people into TTRPGs, or if you want a genre flexible system, I think you should check out Quest. It's great.
That's awesome. It's so funny that they made something like that, because that's just like how I DM D&D anyway.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let me roll this and add this, and that'll decide it. And I don't know about everybody that just cannot stand rules in TTRPGs. No offense, everyone with rules in your TTRPGs, but I can't read. So, but it's fine. It's fine.
I
It's
think
really
here on
cool
the
to have like 2 rules.
and like I know here on the channel we're very role play heavy.
Yeah,
And what
absolutely.
I again something I appreciate about Johnny, like he very much integrated the role play into the roles.
Mm.
It's role play,
Uh,
not rule play.
yeah,
Ooh,
that's
tell
why we're
him.
roll ROLE D5.
Tell.
Yeah, not rule D5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tell those Yakubian apes. Tell
Yeah,
them what.
let me measure your cranium.
God.
I have a question because we had a really big reveal. I like saying reveal because I've been watching a lot of Drag Race. We had this really
Reveal.
big reveal at the end or halfway through yesterday's episode, and
Are you talking about
I'm
RuPaul's Drag Race? Or are you talking about Roll D5?
I'm
Technically
talking about
neither.
couch soup. Yeah,
Oh, Couch Soup.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Sorry. So
That's
during yesterday's game on couch soup of Quest, halfway through we had a big reveal, and I am really glad it happened because I think episode 3 felt a little meandering. I guess like stuff happened, it was fun, but I think we were a little lost about where we were going. And the big reveal we had in yesterday's episode was, oh, that was good.
It
But
nice.
is.
it brought up a question I wanted to ask all of you, which is, do you think every session should have like a big twist if you're in a multi-part campaign? Maybe not twist, but like something big that happens.
So this is something that I actually think quite a lot about because I'm trying to revisit Critical Role, and it's just so much of a slow burn campaign compared to a lot of the other like big actual plays out there. And I think it's
Yeah.
kind of making me realize there's like two approximate schools of actual play. There's like the one that's like I set up the world and things do not move unless you interact with them, which is kind of like how I feel Critical Role is, which is why they can like spend a whole episode like mostly just talking, because it's kind of like they're in a like vast open world game like Cyberpunk. Like they are very much the players.
Mm.
They have to initiate speaking to NPCs. But then if you look at the great contrast with Dimension 20, Dimension 20 is very much like these three things or more need to happen in this session. Like things need to happen in this
Mm.
session because we only have 5 episodes, only have 10 episodes. And I think they're two different types of TTRPG philosophies. And this is a very long-winded way of answering your question. I don't think every TTRPG session needs to have a twist, but I do think every TTRPG session needs to have a choice. Because otherwise, you're just playing through a book. Like you need, whether it's like
Mhm.
choosing to interact with the NPC, choosing to spare the villain that y'all caught, like that is what makes a TTRPG, not just playing through someone else's story.
Oh, totally. Can I answer too? I have an answer for
Oh
this too.
yes, yes, please.
I think that's a great way of looking at it too, Julie. Like you, there are a lot of different ways to play, and when I'm setting up when I'm setting up like a game, I like to have story beats. Like there's the beginning story beat, and I like to try to figure out, maybe even write it down, what emotions I'm trying to convey. Not necessarily what I'm trying to get out of people, but what I'm trying to get them to understand. And then you have the beginning, what emotions, the middle, what decision, what kind of like conflict and introduction to the world have you brought in, and then the end is it's something, because we're let's be honest, like we're a story driven podcast, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
if you're just playing with your friends and there's just like a cliffhanger, that's fine, you know what I mean? But if you're doing episodic, then it's kind of cool to have that bam at the very end, and any way you can just kind of schmooze your characters into that is successful, I think, because it's entertaining to have them make really hard choices and feel
Mhm.
really big emotions, even if they're just like in character. So
I think one of my favorite roleplay moments from my own Curse of Strahd campaign was most of my favorite ones were very character beat focused. One of my absolute favorites that I kind of unexpectedly forced the group into. They were at a windmill, and one of the characters was Travis, actually, who will be GMing Delta Green for us on the 13th. Their character was a Warforged, a robot, and so they didn't really need to sleep, so they were keeping watch all night. And I decided that there'd be two, like the group of six, like everyone would get their turn watching, being on standby with Kaz, Travis's character, and it was great, kind of forcing everyone to have their own special moment with Kaz, having these nice little role play moments to really dive into people's character. And so, yeah, not a whole lot was revealed, but it was still a very special episode.
That's
yeah, that
awesome.
sounds really cool.
We love.
Sometimes all you need is to have a reveal and have the characters react to it, and then see what they do. Like, oh no, big thing happened, what are you gonna do? So that's pretty cool.
I think the campaign really was more than anything just about the story of the friendship between the characters anyway.
That's
That's cool.
awesome.
Yeah,
What I
very
love.
Stephen King.
Hell yeah. What I love so much
The
about
real
that too
Stod was the
is
friends
that
they made along the way.
Julie, we're not going to let you talk. We're going to keep interrupting
uh,
you.
what I like so much about sandbox campaigns in that way is that like I feel like when I think about campaigns where players have that kind of freedom, you are literally like in a sandbox setting up things for them to interact with. But those things
Yeah.
don't literally have to be here's a castle, here's a weird guy. It can be like giving Travis or Kaz that moment with their character and just like letting people do their thing because your players will surprise you and they're sweet, sweet little biddies.
I love that you can just like pull these names out of nowhere. That's that's awesome. Travis. Those are good names. Travis and Kaz.
Travis is
Yeah.
is an actual human being.
What?
Travis is the
Yeah,
player.
What?
Kaz is the character.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
Travis is actually going to GM for us on the 13th.
I knew that. I've seen every single. You don't have to
I went to
explain.
Travis's wedding.
It's crazy you guys are like mansplaining to me who these people are.
Yeah, fun fact, Travis married Steph, who was one of the original creators of Roll D5. Um,
Oh, really? That's
they
cool.
like they of course they met before the Curse of Strahd campaign. Um, but yeah, everyone in the campaign went to their wedding last October.
So good.
Oh.
If
It's a
you have a
good
wholesome
trip.
TTRPG story, drop it in the chat.
Oh yeah.
So I would like to.
If you guys
So,
haven't
oh, are you going to give?
if you guys have a story about when you've forgotten people's names on a stream, then drop it in the chat.
Oh, I can think of one
Uh,
time that somebody I know did that. Just one though.
oh,
Fresh,
tell us
fresh in my
more.
mind.
Her name's Zoe. Mika, what were you saying?
I
um,
can't remember her name. Anyway, go ahead.
I'd like to talk about Triangle Agency.
Oh
Please.
So I did mention to Caleb, the lead designer, that was going to talk about this. We replaced Monster of the Week with Triangle Agency because we loved the session Caleb GM'd for us so much. Zoe was in that game. That it's so. Do you just dap the?
Yes.
Good.
He was so good at DMing. It was so fun.
God, we really need to. When he's less busy with the game, he said he would come back either as a player or GM for us, which would be interesting because as of right now, I've taken over like permanent. I'm GMing every game. I've decided. That way, it's less pressure. Yeah,
against your will.
Then it's less pressure to have like guest GMs come in because it's a little more complicated than Monster of the Week. But in this game, let's see what the intro is. It's Triangle Agency is an organization dedicated to understanding and containing paranormal phenomena in the modern world. These phenomena are known as anomalies, and they are extremely dangerous to human life. And you work for this kind of, they're not explicitly evil, but kind of this evil organization that's trying to, and they're not evil, but they're trying nefarious. There we go. They're trying to find these anomalies and capture them. Like at the start of each session, you're given a totally normal briefcase that you use to trap the anomaly. And the character you play, and this kind of ties into Candela and the fact, Candela, you're just a normal person. In Triangle Agency, your character is fused with an anomaly. And so when you create your character, you're building your arc, your ARC. It's your anomaly, your reality, and your competency. So your anomaly is the particular anomaly you're fused with, such as the gun, the timepiece, the catalog, and they each do different things. This is where your abilities come from. Your reality is, are you a romantic? Are you a caretaker? And then your competency is kind of your job within the agency. Are you an intern? Are you a barista? Are you a CEO type? And you mix and match to create your character, and this will create the abilities you have. It'll create ways for the general manager to fuck with you.
Love to see it.
Barista CEO. I'm here for it.
No, unfortunately, those are part of the same competency. You can't be both.
Damn.
That would be fun, though.
Triangle Agency 2, when?
There's bring it up with Caleb. Yeah. There's a non-stream game I'm part of where I play, and what just happened here? Where I play an intern with the timepiece anomaly, so it controls time, and his reality is overworked. Because that feels very intern to me. Yeah.
That's so real.
And like, so
game reflects reality.
Truly. And these anomalies, you create them yourself. I will say currently it is on Delta testing. And so this is not the full booklet, but you can still have incredibly fulfilling games with this. I almost feel like we don't need the booklet. But also I want the full book because it's going to be awesome, all the additional shit. But so for an anomaly, when you're creating an anomaly, you need the anomaly's focus, which is the obsession or thought that drives its actions. For example, grief of a family, humanity's fear of knives, the safety of an old tree, and then the impulse, how the anomaly acts in service of its focus, like removing the family's memories, becoming a swarm of flying knives, violently protecting the old tree. Then you need its domain, its place of power. So an elevator, a public park, box of memorabilia, and then, does it have a history? And then finally, what's its appearance? Is it an object, a living creature, a formless energy? Has it possessed a human? And so we've only had 2 sessions so far on Roll D5. The first one, the anomaly, was the king with no color. And so the obsession was, this anomaly was born from this artist who had an exhibit going on where, for some stupid reason, he was very proud of the fact that he didn't use the color purple in any of his paintings. Like, he had painted this royal figure, didn't use the color purple, even though purple is a very royal thing.
What a bastard.
So this is just like that episode in Powerpuff Girls, right? Where the clown takes all the color and
yes, it's exactly like that. Yeah. Yes. Oh, that's my favorite episode. Bubbles for the win.
Yeah, that's such a bop. Such a bop.
I've always
Anyway.
wanted to have that song on my phone. So its impulse was it stole the color purple. And how it did this, like anyone who was wearing a shirt from the museum, like it would reach out from that and steal the color purple around it.
Ooh, like
It's
leaking out of things.
yes, yes.
Ooh.
And so its domain was the museum, and then its appearance, it would come out of the painting, and it was like this multi-armed thing. Or multi-armed. It had no head. One set of arms was holding up a crown. Um,
Ooh,
yeah.
The
persona-esque monster.
visual.
Yes, that was the
Oh.
inspiration. And then for last month's episode, the anomaly was a cat. And this
Oh.
cat, its focus was how jealous it was of its owner, who owned a bookstore, Reed McBookin, his new girlfriend. And
Read, read
he saw,
McBookin.
and the cat's name was Pedro Pascal.
My God,
It's the Reed McBookin.
that explains.
We'll get to that in a second.
Sheet that was on Twitter.
Did you say Pedro Pascal?
Pascal.
Oops, I thought you said
Yeah.
Pascal. Okay,
Oh,
bad.
that's just as good. And so it was jealous of this woman, and so its domain was like the second floor of the bookstore where all the romance novels were, and it would have kudzu grow out of the plants anytime it saw some romance. And there were two players,
cool.
Danielle and Shadow, whose characters were hi balloons,
Oh.
who
Because you're on
their
your phone.
characters, both their
Do
characters
this.
were
Do this. Just humor me.
were romantics,
Two thumbs
and
down.
so it was.
Oh, is it
It was
two?
really,
That makes the rain.
oh.
It doesn't recognize
So
it.
so it was really
Unfortunate.
easy to have like the kudzu spread and stuff because the cat hated romance. And
That sentence made
yeah.
perfect sense, especially for anybody hearing that out of context.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting is that there is very much an element of it. Ironically, though, it's a different TTRPG. There is a monster of the week aspect to it.
Mhm.
Like there's these kind of like X-Files, like unknown anomalies, and they're all behaving in different ways. They're all responses to different wounds or outsiders from different areas, and you're trying to clean them up.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite aspects is
Cool.
one, it's very heavily implied like you don't do skill rolls. The only times like you use the skills is when you're using an ability. And so and when you roll for an ability, you roll d4s, which
Why
are
is that,
triangle
Mika?
shaped. Yeah, shut up. I discovered during the first stream when Caleb was GMing, I realized halfway through the stream, oh, that's why you roll d4s, because they're triangles, triangle agency.
I remember that moment. It was great. It was like a bolt of lightning struck you.
It was a big
And so-
moment for everyone, and I think it was also a nice moment for those of us that also didn't know, but could silently also learn and appear judging. So it's a good moment.
But you roll 6d6, or sorry, 6d4. Was just talking about you roll 64 every time. And for you just need 1 3 for a success. However, for every roll that's not a 3, that's 1 chaos that the general manager gets to use against you. For example,
cool.
to activate one of your reality features, like if you're romantic, for 3 chaos, I can have your character feel a vibe with someone else. And if they don't act on that vibe, then they lose a relationship point, which is another fun aspect that's determined by your reality. That you create 3 NPCs that answer certain questions. Like for the romantic, who is the person who with an unknown possibility? So like someone that there's chemistry with, but it never registers that you could be in a relationship with them. And then like who has never found you attractive? And then who's like your biggest almost relationship, like that guy you hook up with on Grindr weekly. Like it's not a relationship, but like it kind of
So there's different levels of relationships. That's cool.
Yes. And instead of the GM playing those NPCs, you dole those relationships out to the other players.
Interesting.
And that was a lot of fun, especially when we
yes.
randomized it. And so we had to kind of figure that out in that world. Like, oh God, why do I hate this person?
I also
why am I
like
in love
that
with their brother?
I'm a big fan of how roleplay mechanics are a big topic of tonight, because Zoe, like you were saying, like so many of us like started with D&D, and like we kind of treat so much of the game as like, oh, you roll a d20 and you succeed or fail.
Yeah.
But there are systems that like allow you to get into drama and mess with other people at the table, which is so so good. As a Gubat Banwa example, is there is
Hold on, I need to get some alcohol.
take a shot, Mika. I said the name of the game again.
What game?
Gubat Banwa is a Southeast Asian fantasy game, like based on like a pre-colonial Southeast Asia. So you know, it's not D&D because you're riding crocodiles and swordfish and like fighting in an archipelago, and like the combat is totally different. And I talk about the game a lot, so everyone takes a shot when I do. But
Buzzballs, cocktails, chocolate teas.
Delicious.
Hey, we're not sponsored. Hey, blur that
hey,
out.
Hey.
Hey, you.
Bada
bing.
But one fascinating bit of roleplay mechanic in that game is that because it's like it's a society that's very much based around honor and debt, you start the game indebted to somebody, most likely another NPC in the world. And you start with one honor, but if this NPC asks something of you, which is like, hey, I saved your life, you have to kill my arch nemesis. If you say no to them, your honor drops. And if your honor gets too low, you yourself become an NPC. You become like a villain. Because you're just a dishonorable cretin.
So I have a question for you, a serious question.
Yeah.
In a TTRPG like that, I think that like it's so cool because there are real consequences to like trying, because you're obviously the goal is to try to come up with creative solutions to do what the person is trying to get you to do, while also being true to your character and having conflict and creating a fun story beat. How do you avoid like, I know that it's a really difficult thing to probably balance taking away your character's a character's agency, and then balancing having them just become an NPC. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, agency is so important with these roleplay mechanics. Like even everything that Mika was talking about. I remember one of my least favorite moments in a D&D campaign was like when a character of mine got like possessed, and then like I just sat out for the last 30 minutes of the session, and that sucked.
Who among us has had our agency taken away when we didn't want them to? In a not a fun time.
Yeah. So I think in the case of Gubat Banwa, you are not necessarily forced to do this thing. You are given a choice. Like, you don't automatically drop to the amount of honor that you would get that would turn you into an NPC. Like, you'd have to lose like 6 honor. You'd have to like betray 6 people in order to become an NPC, which might just mean your game plan has to be about helping people and getting people indebted to you and raising your own honor. It's that thing about choice again. Like, you can choose to go along with this person and like clear your debt to them and be free, or you could say no and like slowly become perceived worse in the world of the game.
Gotcha.
But that's regardless, cool. Safety tools important. Check in with your cast.
Do we all just want to talk about a horrible experience we've had with our character agency be taken away?
Well, that's a super fun topic, Mika, but let's maybe
no.
While that is a super
so let's
that is a super fun and positive, sparkly topic, but
so the point of the story is, I think that NPC mechanic is brilliant.
Yeah, that's
like letting the other players be those NPCs. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's a great way to keep everyone engaged when it's not their character's time. Yeah, I love it. Triangle Agency is going to be my Gubat Banwa.
Good. I love everybody claiming TTRPGs for themselves. Sorry, Zoe, go ahead.
No worries. I was just going to say I have a question for everybody to answer. We could go in a line. What is your like favorite DM rule? Like your number one rule as a DM?
What's your example?
Now think about it. Well, my example, oh my god, funny you should ask. I do have an answer to my own question. So I think rule of cool is my favorite rule. Like, absolutely, if a character is not going to have fun, and there's a chance that like their role is just going to lead to nothing, which is very rare. You can quite often like find creative solutions to failure, but like if a character wants to do something cool and the game mechanics just like don't allow it, just like come on.
Yeah.
Let them have fun, let them be creative. That's what it's all about. So even if it doesn't follow the story or whatever.
That's a great one.
Mine is called Showtime. I took this from Persona 5. So in
Oh,
Persona
I
5,
love it.
every so often you activate a Showtime, and so it's two characters do this funny scene and then unleash this ultimate attack. And so specifically with my Sunday group, who I played Strahd with, that Travis is in. Do you remember who Travis is, Zoe?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
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 Also, Emily is in this group. Emily, who plays Elf
Oh
for
yeah.
her character all the time.
Oh, that's
Uh,
crazy. Oh yes,
oh my
yes. Actually,
gosh.
I do remember you talking about Elf being
Thank
a
you.
multi-dimensional being.
Um, so this is kind of hard to work out sometimes, but anytime during an attack, one of those players rolls a nat 20, I let them do a showtime. So I let their characters like team up
That's
and
so
create
fun.
like a funny, stupid, like improbable scene that they do together. Like they merge their attacks into one. And then my second favorite rule was when you get nat 20, you take max damage plus an additional roll.
Oh, there's your thumbs up.
Yeah. Which is my second favorite rule. Yeah, so
Oh, dude.
showtimes. It's great to just have your players describe some ridiculous thing they do.
Did you? I think that you really did a good job with that when with my first TTRPG on Roll D5, which was Thursday, when we all like merged together and had our own moments. So
Oh,
it's
that
cool.
was Empty Cycle.
Empty Cycle was your
Empty
first one.
Cycle.
Also my
Yes.
first one.
I think mine was. Maybe mine was that my first one?
Yeah.
I think so, because you and I and Andrew
Cool.
were all invited to join the channel after that game,
Yes.
which was such a good game. I think about that often, and how Mika and I's relationship started with my character beating up your character over breaking a McDonald's toy. It was great.
But we all also were on Thursday.
Another great
Yes.
system that doesn't use dice.
That was really cool.
Doesn't use dice at all.
Yeah.
That is so
It's
cool.
the outside looking inside. That's not what it's actually called, but it's something sort of like that. The system.
So really quick,
Which we can talk about some other time.
Let's hear Julie's favorite rule too.
I think I'm just gonna build off.
So anyway, I'm gonna drink this.
Moving on.
What's Travis's name?
You're clouding my mind, man.
I'm gonna echo rule of cool and just say reward players for their creativity.
Yes. That's a good one.
It's the type of behavior that you should encourage 100%, even if it's just like something totally silly. I in one of my D&D for hire games, somebody like was gonna knock over a giant, and like somebody was like, if I gather all of the giant's like lackeys who are like human sized at their feet, can the giant fall on top of them? And there's no rule for that, but I'm like, absolutely. So they knock the giant prone, they shape water underneath the snow under its feet, and it falls down and damages all of its friends. And then another guy uses a giant slayer short sword to knock it prone again. And like, this isn't in the rules, but like, in pretty much any TTRPG system, there is some element of flexibility that lets you reward your players for doing silly shit. You can figure out how to make it work. Just make sure that they are rewarded for the creativity.
Yes, that's a great rule. Love that.
My favorite creative moment, one of them with the group Travis is in. Zoe, do you remember who Travis is?
So yeah, he's like my favorite. I'll explain later why I'm so bad with names. Anyway, go ahead.
So the monk of the group used Stunning Strike on a vampire, and the vampire saved its throw. And then the person who played the druid, they were only part of the campaign for a few sessions, unfortunately, said, "Hey, I've got this ability where I can make plants grow." Can you still hear me? I froze again.
Still hear you,
That's a good pose,
okay.
though. It's a really good pose.
So he goes up, sticks an acorn in the vampire's spawn's mouth, and then has it grow into a tree.
Oh my god, that's really
Hell
good.
yes, that's
Yeah.
hardcore.
That's really good.
Yeah.
There, I don't. Okay, spoilers for Fiona and Cake, but I love the Adventure Time universe, and it's
That
like
makes
it's
sense.
been my favorite show. Yeah, it's been my favorite show since. Oh, he unfroze. He. It looks like you manifested that bobble out of nowhere. But
Oh, this.
oh, this old chestnut. But uh, oh, what we're talking about vampires. You can like get so creative with vampire stuff. There was one scene, spoilers, uh, where Fiona and Cake are trying to like kill vampires in a situation I won't explain. And Fiona's like asking somebody, "Oh, have you killed a vampire this way and this way?" And one of them was like put a, somehow gotten a splinter from a stake into one of the vampires and it killed him because that's a stake. And it's like, have you grown a tree inside of a vampire and that's how you staked him? Like, you can get real creative. It's
Mhm.
cool.
I love that.
It's so fun.
Get creative with the ways you kill your vampires.
Absolutely.
Uh,
That's my top rule.
Heck yeah. I mean, I think that's a wonderful way for us to close out and raid local Dumb Baby Erica's charity stream.
Yes.
But yeah, is there anything you want to leave the people with? I'm just gonna say, if you want a simple but customizable system to get newbies to TTRPG started with, or to just give your D&D group or whatever a break, check out Quest RPG. It's skill tree based, so there's customization, but it's also entirely D20 centric. It's nice and simple.
Quest RPG. That's cool. Should we like yeah, we'll do our favorite little RPG. My favorite is Chronicles of Darkness. It's so good. It's like definitely make it your own because it's very complicated. I think the rule book is like 300 pages long. It's too much. But make it your own and make it spooky. That's my advice.
Mika, is Triangle Agency your Gubat Banwa tonight?
Yes.
And why
For
do
it's gonna be my Gubot Banwa for a while. I'm just gonna keep talking about it. I'm super into it. It's weird.
you recommend what should who are the people that should pick up Triangle Agency literally tomorrow? Like what are they looking for?
Weird surrealism. If you like the surreal, if you like dark humor, um, oh, what's the phrase? Very matter of fact, deadpan, kind of deadpan humor.
Mm,
You
yeah,
love
it's so fun.
working for agencies that like to punish their employees. There's a demerit system. You get either demerits or commendations. So if you want to play something that jokes around about corporate America a little bit too, while putting in this supernatural setting,
There's
Love it.
modernity to it, a little bit of satire. We love it.
Yeah.
yes.
Office Space meets Lord of the Rings.
Better
Love
off
it.
better off Ted meets
Better off Ted.
Ghostbusters.
What a pull. Better off Ted. You know, the well-known Better Off Ted.
Better off Ted meets Welcome to Night Vale meets
Love
Yeah,
it.
and other
Office
well-known.
Space.
Magnus Archives, etc.
Yeah.
Another
That's so
Monster of
funny.
the Week thing.
Well, on that note,
On that
I think
note,
we can wrap it up.
yeah, we gotta support our dear sweet Erica. He's doing
Yes, our
a
sweetie pie.
And
yes,
Johnny is on this one too.
amazing.
I wait, is this the same one? The 24-hour?
I can only assume so, and
They're
we will
doing a
find out
24
once
hour
we
thing?
raid in with
Yeah,
different groups of people. So they're like
so it the
alternating.
Tales of Initiative is doing a 24-hour stream for, of course, I just forgot the name.
Extra Life.
Extra Life, thank you. And
Oh,
everyone,
nice.
there's 6 games, 4 hours each. I'm the second to last game. Johnny is the first game, and I think Erica's playing in that game. I know Erica's in 2 sessions. One of those is with me. Um,
So slow.
Well,
Anyway,
spectacular. Is that where we're sending all these lovely people then?
I think so.
All
Yeah.
right.
Well, we'll see if I'm able to get the raid command to work from OBS as we raid Tales of Initiative. Everyone say hi to Erica, support a good cause. At the very least, comment
Cool.
something in the chat and continue to support indie TTRPGs and people who use their TTRPG time for good.
Hey guys, did we say our names even once?
It's under our faces. We said Travis's name like 5 times.
Who's Travis?
Yeah.
All right. On that note, I'm Zoe, the forgetful artist. You can find me at Baikaka. I'm not on social media anymore. So there you go.
But you drew all of this,
I did.
including that.
I drew Juli, I drew Mika, and I drew Erica up there.
Nihoy Minoy.
That's right.
Oh my God, I'm Mika. I do things like DM for charity streams. You can catch me tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central to 3 p.m. Central, where I will be playing Prismatic Wastelands supplement Barkeep on the Borderlands. It's a pub adventure. I'm going to be drinking during it.
Mika drinking? You guys can't miss that. That's a lot of fun.
He never does that.
He never does that.
Again, Tales of Initiative. Just follow my Twitter or Threads to see links for it. Twitter at Goggleboy, GOGGLEBOY, like main character of Digimon. On Threads, MIKA_MCINTOSH. Mika Macintosh, Mika Macintosh, Mika Macintosh. I hum that to myself sometimes to cheer myself up.
Sounded like
I
the
interrupted
Arthur
you.
song a little bit. Mika Macintosh, Mika Macintosh, Mika Macintosh. No.
It sure cheered me up. I like that. That's a lot of fun
Mika
to say.
Macintosh, Mika Macintosh.
Well, let's Mika Macintosh our way over to Erica's stream then, right?
Oh yeah.
Wait, no, Julie, you should probably introduce. Did you already introduce yourself?
No, but I host World Detox. I'm here. I'm in the top left corner, talking about indie tabletop games. JULICIEL on most of the social medias, but just the message I want to leave people with is not me. Don't look for me. Look for your local games that you can support, because there's a lot of really good ones out there.
All right. Well, we will see you guys around. See you at the next Roll Detox.
We'll catch you on the flippity flip. Let's try to see if this raid works. Ha!
Ah,
Oh, it worked.
oh, it was Tales of Initiative. Yeah.
Woo! Yes. All right. Raid. And
How long does this take?
I mean, we're out now.
Okay.
Oh, thank goodness.